How to stick with good habits every day. In 1993, a bank in Abbotsford, Canada, hired a 23-year-old stockbroker named Trent Dearsmead. Dearsmead. Abbotsford was a relatively small suburb tucked away in the shadow of nearby Vancouver, where most of the big businesses deals were being made. Given the location and the fact that Deersmith was a rookie, nobody expected too much of him, but he made brisk progress thanks to a simple daily habit. Deersmith began each morning with two jars on his desk. One was filled with 120 paper clips. The other was empty. As soon as he settled in each day, he would make a sales call. Immediately after, he would move one paper clip from the full jar to the empty jar and the process would begin again. Every morning, I would start with 120 paper clips in one jar and I would keep dialing the phone until I had moved them all to the second jar, he told me. Within 18 months, Deersmith was bringing in $5 million to the firm. By age 24, he was making 75,000 per year, the equivalent of 125,000 today. Not long after, he landed a six-figure job with another company. I like to refer to this technique as the paperclip strategy, and over the years, I've heard from readers who have employed it in a variety of ways. One woman shifted a hairpin from one container to another whenever she wrote a page of her book. Another man moved a marble from one bin to the next after each set of push ups. Making progress is satisfying, and visual measures like moving paper clips or hairpins or marbles provide clear evidence of your progress. As a result, they reinforce your behavior and add a little bit of immediate satisfaction to any activity. Visual measurement comes in any forms: food journals, workout logs, loyalty punch cards, the progress bar on a software download, even the page numbers in a book. But perhaps the best way to measure your progress is with a habit tracker. How to keep your habits on track. A habit tracker is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit. The most basic format is to get a calendar and cross off each day you stick with your routine. For example, if you meditate on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, each of those days get an X. As time rolls by, the calendar becomes a record of your habit streak. Countless people have tracked their habits, but perhaps the most famous was Benjamin Franklin. Beginning at the age 20, Franklin carried a small booklet every day, everywhere he went, and used it to track 13 personal virtues. This list includes goals like lose no time, be always employed in something useful, and avoid trifling conversation. At the end of each day, Franklin would open his booklet and record his progress. Jeffrey Seinfeld reportedly used a habit tracker to stick with his streak of writing jokes. In a documentary, comedian, he refers that his goal is to simply to never break the chain of writing jokes every day. In other words, he is not focused on how good or bad a particular joke is or how inspired he feels. He simply focused on showing up and adding to his streak. Don't break the chain is a powerful mantra. Don't break the chain of sales calls, and you'll build a successful book of business. Don't break the chain of workouts, and you'll get fit faster than you'd expect. Don't break the chain of creating every day, and you will end up with an impressive portfolio. Habit tracking is powerful because it leverages multiple laws of behavior change. It simultaneously makes a behavior obvious, attractive, and satisfying. Let's break down each one. Benefit number one, habit tracking is obvious. Record, recording your last action creates a trigger that can initiate your next one. Habit tracking naturally builds a series of visual cues like the streak of X on your calendar or the list of meals in your food log. When you look at a calendar and see your streaks, you'll be reminded to act again. Research has shown that people who track their progress and goals like losing weight, quitting smoking, and lowering blood pressure are all likely to improve than those who don't. One study of more than 1,600 people found that those who kept a daily food log lost twice as much weight as those who did not. The mere act of tracking a behavior can spark the urge to change it. Habit tracking also keeps you honest. Most of us, most of us, most of us have a Most of us have a distorted view of our own behavior. We think we act better than we do. Measurement offers one way to overcome our blindness to our own behavior and notice what's really going on each day. One glance of the paper clips in a container, and you immediately know how much work you have or haven't been putting in. When the evidence is right in front of you, you're likely you're less likely to lie to yourself. Benefit number two, habit tracking is attractive. The most effective form of motivation is progress. When we get a signal that we are moving forward, we become more motivated to continue down that path. In this way, habit tracking can have an addictive effect on motivation. Each small win feeds your desire. This, this can be particularly powerful on a bad day. When you're feeling down, it's easy to forget about all the progress you have already made. Habit tracking provides visual proof of your hard work, a subtle reminder of how far you've come. Plus, the empty square you see each morning can motivate you to get started because you don't want to lose your progress by breaking the streak. Benefit number three, habit tracking is satisfying. This is the most crucial benefit of all. Tracking can become its own Tracking can become its own form of reward. It is satisfying to cross an item off your to-do list, to complete an entry in your workout log, or to mark an X on the calendar. It feels good to watch your results grow, the size of your investment portfolio, the length of your book manuscript, and if it feels good, then you're more likely to endure. Habit tracking also helps keep your eye on the ball. You're focused on the process rather than the result. You're not fixated on getting six pack abs. You're just trying to keep the streak alive and become the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. In summary, habit tracking 1 creates a visual cue that can remind you to act. Number 2 is inherently motivating because you see the progress you are making and don't want to lose it. And three feels satisfying whenever you record another successful instance of your habit. Furthermore, habit tracking provides visual proof that you are casting votes for the type of person you wish to become, which is a delightful form of immediate and intrinsic gratification. You may be wondering if habit tracking is so useful. Why have I waited so long to talk about it? Despite all the benefits, I've left this discussion until now for a simple reason. Many people resist the idea of tracking and measuring. It can feel like a burden because it forces you into two habits, the habit you're trying to build and the habit of tracking it. Counting calories sounds like a hassle when you're already struggling to follow a diet. Writing down every sales call seems tedious when you've got work to do. It feels easier to say, I'll just eat less, or I'll try harder, or I'll remember to do it. People inevitably tell me things like, I have a des- I have a decision journal, but I wish I used it more. Or I recorded my workouts for a week, but then quit. Even be- I've been I've been there my I've been there myself. I once made a food log to track my calories. I managed to do it for one meal and then gave up. Tracking isn't for everyone, and there is no need to measure your entire life, but nearly anyone can benefit from it in some form, even if it's only temporary. 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 What can we do to make tracking easier? First, whenever possible, measurement should be automated. You'll probably be surprised by how much you've already tracking without knowing it. Your credit card statements tracks how often you go out to eat. Your Fitbit registers how many steps you take and how long you sleep. Your calendar records how many new places you travel to each year. Once you know where to get the data, and add a note to your calendar to review it each week or each month, which is more practical than tracking it every day. Second, manual tracking should be eliminated to your most important habits. It is better to consistently track one habit than to sporad, sporadically Track 10. Finally, record each measurement immediately after the habit occurs. The completion of the behavior is the cue to write it down. This approach allows you to combine the habit tracking method mentioned in Chapter 5 with habit tracking. The habit stacking plus the habit tracking formula is after current habit and I will track my habit. After I hung up the phone call, After I hang up the phone from a sales call, I will move one paper clip over. After I finish each gym, After I finish each set at a gym, I will record it in my workout journal. After I put my plate in the dishwasher, I will write down what I ate. These tactics can make tracking your habits easier. Even if you aren't the type of person who enjoys recording your behavior, I think you'll find a few weeks of measurements to be insightful. It's always interesting to see how you've actually been spending your time. That said, every habit streak ends at some point, and more important than any single measurement is having a good plan for when your habits slide off track.